Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the district courtroom of Tyler County, Texas, the Honorable County Clerk, Donnie Strickland.
Did you know that Robert is jail?
Sheriff.
Sheriff. Robert Hayes.
What's up, man? Good, good.
Well, she's waiting.
Well, Stephen, you probably have overheard Commissioner Marshall is present, Sheriff Weatherford is present, Commissioner-elect Joe Blacksher is present, the Honorable County Clerk, Tyler County, Donnie Gregory is present, Chief, both of juvenile and probations are here, and the Calhoun Media Group.
All right, Steve.
We don't have a quorum yet. No, we do. We do. What am I thinking?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. I had to think about it again.
Oh, I'm tired.
I always kept Joe. Get over here, Joe.
I was counting heads, but not voices.
Right out the door. Turn down that hallway. Yeah, stay right there.
Are we on YouTube too?
We are on YouTube too.
We're taking snapshots of it again.
All right. We are officially at 1:30 according to Verizon time, and this meeting has been duly called in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act as a workshop. Commissioner Buck Hudson is now entering the room. He's not the late Buck Hudson. He's just
Buck Hudson is late.
So, with that being said, it is the practice of this court to take any public comments that may have been logged in with the county clerk, and she is not present in the room. And I'm not aware of any comments that have been requested to be made before the workshop ends. With that being said, Commissioner Marshall, I think you had requested for this budget workshop.
Yes, sir. I was wanting to kind of hear from some of our people. I mean, I know Terry is one of them we always have at our budget workshop. We have to ask how she's doing and all that. But, no, there was a couple of things I needed to discuss.
Okay.
On our airport. I need to get with Jackie to see, she was working on that stuff before the meeting. Kind of waiting on that. We budget 12,500. 12,500 every year for the airport. We've been trying to do some upgrades, painting and all that out there on the runway. It's $5 paint. It's much cheaper than getting somebody else to come do it.
Our auditor and treasurer is now showing the meeting. For those who are listening and participating by way of phone, welcome, ladies.
Okay, got it, thank you. I got two on it. Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Donnie, did you have any public comments that had been requested? Okay, good, thank you. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, cool.
I think I may have made this phone call up about
All right. Although,
Welcome back.
yeah, I don't know if they cut me off or cut myself.
Hey, Commissioner.
Have we got any, tax rates yet? Figures on the, no new tax rates?
I haven't gotten anything from Lynette. Have you, Jackie? No. No, the
I
answer
think
is
she
no.
was, did you get her
I
what?
did, yeah, she has, yes.
She was waiting on some stuff from Brian, imagine that.
Yeah, stuff we've done. Hadn't been done in 20 years.
Mike, it looks like on page 16, 24 is for the air.
Yeah, I looked at it, I think I'm gonna be all right, judge, I'm just want to see what year to date expenses were on.
Okay.
So, I'll be good on that. We can see if anybody else has got any requests. Terry?
I can see it, by the way, I've seen it a long time. I am curious to know, I understand if any is involved maybe into the go-to meetings or something, and we had meetings, we had to set up, if we were doing by Zoom, the freezing and cut you off after a period of time. Is that something that's available to the county office?
Hey, Terry, would you do something? Would you come sit over close to where Brian is so Stephen can pick up what you're saying?
Yeah.
You're a two recorder.
It's the camera, I'm trying to go away.
Yeah, we'll just point this way.
Okay.
Once you get to it, better off with it.
Thank you.
Well, I was gonna let her have it.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. When we set up meetings, we set them up by Zoom and it's free, and after a certain period of time, it cuts you off. And I'm the chairman of a lot of things and have to set a lot of meetings, so I'm wondering about that go-to meetings thing. Is that something we bought? Can we use it? How does that work? Is that something I need to buy into?
You can ask him, I don't know.
Can I have permission, Donald, from you? I just wasn't sure how it worked. Sorry, I threw you off.
We're gonna have to get back with you. We'll have our people to get with your people.
Okay.
I honestly don't know.
On our call-in system that we have,
Yeah.
we've set it up.
Well, are we on Zoom or are we gonna go to a meeting? I don't know.
We are on, is it
Go-to
go-to?
meeting,
We're on YouTube.
well, we're on YouTube, but the go-to meetings, we use for commissioners report, Zoom, we use for probate. So your office has to change.
Okay.
But are they free?
Well, you can get it free, what she's saying is that the free version comes out after.
So what we're using right now is not free, correct?
Yeah, we're not, yeah.
So
It's
can
the
other
last-
offices use that? Could other people use that also? I guess it keeps on your job.
I guess that's the judge's office, for the board, that's your office, I guess.
So like when you buy into it, does it allow you so many users or does it, do you know?
I don't know. I mean, we've just deferred to Donald to get us up and going during COVID, and I don't know that we studied it. You know, what we had.
For the host and stuff like that, and recording and that kind of stuff, just eliminating. I mean, probably would be beneficial to each office if they can have it, just to get them their own. I think that, I mean, you could manage it with, create this meeting, that meeting, this meeting, that meeting, it would probably be easier if you've got several meetings, just to get your own.
Okay. Is any idea how much it costs?
I don't think very much. Not often.
So that would just be one request, is that I have the ability to be able to be, because I fear we're going to probably do that more this
Yeah.
winter. And so, and that's really the only thing, except for just to say that I guess the money for the PPEs and all that kind of thing, we need of course, we're gonna need, we're handing out masks to our families and, well, we ask them to bring masks, but sometimes they forget them. So just all the stuff everyone else is using, I think, hand sanitizer and mask, and I'm not sure, we're supposed to take temperatures and all that. Do we need the equipment for that, or is that gonna be done at the door, or is that gonna be done at all? So those are just some of my questions.
Are there some directives under the juvenile probation umbrella? Kind of like
Yes,
there is?
all of what your county says to do.
Okay, all right. Because the Office of Court Administration is very specific.
Yes, they are. And for court purposes.
Yeah.
But not for just everyday purposes.
Okay.
It's follow what your county tells you. You get your equipment from your county, you get what you need, how they do.
I would think that that's kind of an emergency management type of contribution
Okay.
as far as just to understand, what we need to do, how we need to do it, to be in compliance with the governor's orders of gatherings or limitations or whatever. So, we can address it, I believe, under Fund 48, just carve out some.
Well, that's
Because-
what we've got the COVID expenses for, because that's what
Yeah.
it's for.
But I mean, there's plenty of other line items that if we needed to fund it, ramp it up. Ken was by this morning, and we talked about all of the additional resources, PPE resources that he's acquired that we're getting through the state. So we're in a good place to help us move forward, but we're starting to incur some expenses on this last quarter that he put in.
Okay.
But he's attempted to provide for all of the offices.
Yes, and
whatever they
he's
need.
given us a box of masks, but, since I'm afraid this isn't about to go away, I just want to make sure this next year. And that's what the other counties are telling me, is they're getting it from their, like, they just fill out a form and give it to emergency management, and they give them the supplies they need, so.
Okay, so why don't we do this? Why don't we address the PPE and all of that under the umbrella and just get Ken to give us whatever CDC or whatever the state health services
Right.
is. And, because we were talking this morning about maybe having one sheet just to go out, kind of like a checklist of
Right.
protocols to do.
Okay.
And then on the Zoom, we're just gonna have to I think, study that, and try to figure out, what that looks like.
If it's not that expensive, I mean, we might just get our own, if you have several people, maybe better, like that's what Donald was saying. have your own.
If you have one people pop up here or there, it probably you have for, just the office. I was gonna be, if you're gonna do multiple, I think.
Donald, you're too soft-spoken, honey. You need to
Yeah,
speak
here,
up.
come stand
Because
up here.
I hear about every third word.
I think the go-to meeting was $144 dollars a year.
A year,
A year. And then Zoom is probably roughly about the same, maybe cheaper.
Does it limit the number of times you can use it?
Hey, Matt can't hear you, stand up and Max wants to hear what you're saying. So is one better than the other? In your opinion?
They're both the same.
Okay.
Zoom has the option to stream straight to YouTube. If you do have to host public meetings, the only thing with that is everybody on that.
Yeah.
So it's either one, if you are more used to Zoom, I would get Zoom. But I think it's even cheaper than GoTo. I know GoTo is kind of been there longer.
Okay.
So,
I haven't ever used the go-to meeting, so I don't, but if it's as easy as, but you're saying
It's the
Zoom.
same thing.
Okay,
And that's what, you call it in, like Stephen calls it, he calls it the GoTo.
okay. Okay, so that's just my.
We just have to figure it out, and obviously we got a technology line,
Yes,
and
so,
then because everything that's driving this has been associated with COVID, we might have to just go into that resource fund 48 and try to carve out some of that to meet needs that, we're all facing. Because we've gone almost exclusively in just probate court to Zoom meetings, yeah. I mean,
and that's how we're doing our therapy, that's how we're doing our parenting for the most part. And so I anticipate we're going to be doing a lot of that in the winter. So I just want to make sure we're prepared to be able to be set up for that. I know with the CARES money, Leanne and I talked about some other things that we could use, and so I don't know if that's something that the committee is already taking care of, but I think there must be money some other way for that, so. Okay,
Okay, good, thank you.
thank you.
So,
Anything else?
anybody else got anything?
Okay, couple of, well, several things from the treasurer's office. First thing that I want to ask for is a part-time person for my office. I believe with the increased responsibilities, I'm complaining about the work, and I believe that thus far, at my office, two have efficiently maintained and received depositing, reporting, HR duties, new hires, separations, retirement, health insurance benefits, as well as payroll. I'm asking for this position so that I may have an additional trained staff and not just a field clerk for duties. Right now, I have a situation where I have my regular full-time person at home, in quarantine, and I have something happen to me or I have to be out. I have nobody to fill in that knows how to work my system. So there's conferences, there's trainings, there's all kinds of things that require both of us to be out at the same time, and I'm asking for that. The next item that I'd like to bring is, that will affect the budget, is the longevity award. We had a workshop on that. And I'm asking for $30 per employee after 4 years of work, or at the beginning of the 4 years of working the county consistently, that we give that to them as this longevity incentive to stay with the county. Once you've invested the money in training them, we don't want to lose them and have to train somebody else. So there's a longevity reward, and that money would go back to an athletic policy to help ensure that they stay healthy, which would in turn reduce our health insurance.
Do you know how much that would cost?
$25,200 approximately.
It's 35,
25,000 a year.
no, 35 per person.
30.
30, okay.
And that's flexible. They can get a good policy for $25. They can always pay the difference in whatever they decide to go with. But I do think that, and here's the other thing too, if we would give them a $100 raise per month, they would not actually see the $100. It would eat up in taxes. It would not be a reality to them. At least this way, we save money on the tax side of it, and then they get to realize a $30 policy that works in their best interest, as well as, the benefits inside of the county health life. Then, an advisement for the courts, and it'll be on the agenda, just to kind of let you know, we are looking into changing our dental policy. So currently we have dental through Delta Dental, and we have 14 county employees that are on that policy. It is a horrible policy, and on top of that, it's not open to the rest of our employees. So the new hire we get is not eligible. They cannot, nobody else can get on this dental policy because of the size of our employee bank. So in order to offer this to all of our county employees, we consulted with Aflac, and they have a dental policy, not a supplement. And so it's comparable in price, so that'll be on the agenda. It won't cost the county anything, but it is there for everybody. And then, something that will affect the budget, and Stephen and I have spoken about this a couple of times. It's kind of budget, and then it's kind of policy. So our policy states that at any one given time, an employee should not have more than 120 or the amount that they accrued in vacation. So we have a lot of employees that have accrued more than what the policy states they actually can have. So at glance, it doesn't look like it really affects the policy extensively until you start figuring out. We had an employee that recently resigned from the county. I needed to pay him out his vacation time. I paid him out the 133 hours that he accrued. It wound up being $2,500 that we were going to pay him out. If I had only given him the amount, the 84 hours that he was actually eligible for, then we would only pay him out $1,500. So it's a $1,000 difference in that particular situation. And there's some that have considerably more over the allotted amount. And so that is something that we'll be bringing to the court to look at, because it definitely will affect the budget or the bottom line, in that aspect. And if we're going to leave it alone, we just need to make sure that policy stays that. Then, so we spoke of, or Terry kind of mentioned the Fund 48 possibilities, and I have all of this for y'all to review. There's been some question. Okay. Anybody else care for my packet? There's been some question about this CRF. It does play into our end of the year budget, or beginning of next year budget, or however you want to plan for it. Here are the expenses that I budgeted based on some research that I did, with some things that I think that need to be considered for this CARES Act money. I in no way acted in the manner that this is the budget that the county adopted, or this is what we're going to do, or I in no way made it clear that this was the only option that we had. What I did say was, the county needs to think of the county first, so that in December, we're not asking the taxpayers for more money. And then we're not asking the schools to give us back some money. I did say that we need to act cautiously, carefully, and not necessarily quickly. And at that meeting, everybody agreed. So these are items that will address Terry's request. These are items that will address the safety of all county offices, all county employees. And the first three things are covered under the 75% side of that without question. And I do think that it deserves a good look at. Again, it will affect the way we dip into Fund 48 next year. And if it's unnecessarily dipped into, then we're going to run out of money quickly. So that is, again, for your review. And on the back side, I did show a breakdown of what was offered to the schools. From my opinion, in my opinion only, and we all know the treasurer has no sway in court. And I think that's all I have.
And I want to add on to that, Coach Buck was in the meeting too. I don't know what these people have promised. But all the school districts, with the exception of one, were very gracious in saying that they understood. Because what I said was, and I believe Terry said, we don't know what we don't know. We have from now until December, we don't know what COVID's gonna do, we don't know when the flu comes in, what that's gonna do. So to give money right now, first of all, we don't have a firm answer that electronic learning will be allowed to be claimed on public health. Do I think it should be able to? Sure I do, because the kids are having to stay home. But we don't have that in writing. And until we get that, we're kind of in a holding pattern. Because we've got to follow it, and you know as well as I do, 10 years after Ike, they're still auditing. And then they want to pull some money back, because they don't think it was justified. So what I told them was, hold on till December, because they're gonna have to expense the money anyway, because it's a reimbursement grant. So they can expend their money, hold on to their receipts. If we find out that the feds say, yes, that electronic learning will qualify under public health, well, then we could help them a lot more, provided we haven't had to have it. But my first obligation is to the county. And it's a grant for the county. It wasn't a grant for the schools, even though I know on the handout of the TEA one, they said, go to your counties and ask for money. But I think it would be not in our best interest to start shelling out money right now until we know for a fact we've met the 75% rule on those three categories. And right now, we don't know that.
And one of the districts is extremely disturbed. I even had a call today. She wants her money. I mean, that's just how she sees it. And she feels cheated from what's on this paper right here. And I don't know, like I say, I don't know what she was promised or what she thought she was getting. But the other districts were all very agreeable. They realize they're gonna have to dip into their funds anyway, probably. But this one lady, she's still upset. She thinks that somebody should give her $200,000 today and be done with it. And she's convinced her board of that too. So now they're all calling and, you know, it's a very unfortunate situation the way it's I guess it'll all come out in Washington.
We just gotta make sure we follow the rules.
Yeah, we just gotta follow the rules, and I mean, I would be tickled to death if I was getting that amount of money. I mean, you know, it's more you got, it's more than you had to begin with, but you know.
Well, then something else for you to think about that she brought up, and it's like, I told her, our county population is 21,000 something, I believe. So our allotment was based on our population. So naturally, Hardin County, Jasper County, obviously Harrison County would be allotted more because they have more population. The only fair way to me to divide whatever we do give to the schools is by the population of students that they have. Well, because, and the cities were not allotted that much money. It was a very small amount. And she said, so Woodville, Comus, Neal, Chester, they're gonna get county money and city money. Well, I don't know what the cities do. So she wanted it divided by population of an unincorporated area. Well, here's the problem you got. You've got students that live in Warren, but they come to Woodville, or they live in Sparta and they go to Warren. You can't, I don't see how you could do it that way. Obviously, she wants what everybody else wants, but that's something else y'all are gonna have to come up with. But to me, the only fair way is by your enrollment in your school. I don't know how you could break out the other, like she's one that broke out. I don't know how you could do that. But that's something else y'all need to mull around because that'll be asked if you do.
Well, in that, you know, in that particular situation, you even got encroachment into another county. So, I mean, what do you do there? I mean, I know it's part of the district, but it's still in the other county. So, I just don't see no way to do it by the population. I mean, how you ever gonna get that number? I mean, it's almost like you have to do a census.
Wasn't there a committee that was established for that, to work out all of this and then bring a recommendation to the court?
Well, we had it worked out, I think. Everybody else was in
Yeah,
agreement.
everybody was agreeing.
Phone calls.
Pretty much everybody was agreeable. We had them on Zoom and there were some here, but we do have one that is not happy. But I mean, it was simply a committee discussion. I mean, we can't have to go through the board.
We advised
It was advised, I mean,
that she,
advised.
that everything we recommended would have to go to court, that we make a recommendation. And we did hash some things out, that we were making a recommendation. Everybody else was gracious, everybody else understood that, except for that two schools.
So is there gonna be a recommendation coming from the committee that would come before the court?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think democracy rules, they would be the majority.
Well, it used to.
Well, it used to.
But the issue is that regardless of what the committee recommends and brings to the court, it still affects Fund 48 at the end of the day. And we still have money allotted to the county that we can take advantage of that would not put us in a bind, so that we can take care of everything we're obligated to do. We do not have in place all the precautionary measures that most everybody else in the state of Texas has. There's a lot lacking in our side of it that we really could utilize, not just for this pandemic, but any future issues that we might have. And the other observation that was made is, how long is this money going to last on either side, the school district or our side, to outlast the virus? Nobody knows. And it's cutting your nose off to spite your face if you give all of your money away and you turn around and say, we could have done that, but now we can't because we've got all these other expenses and now we can't afford that. So it was brought here today in the workshop, because it needed to be, and because it needs to be taken into consideration, one way or the other, what you're going to do when you start finalizing the budget on 48.
Yeah, that's part of the warrant this year.
My question was, Lee didn't have any idea of how to fund that part-time position that she was going to request, how much it's going to cost to do that, and how we get it funded.
I do, Stephen, the other departments, the judges kind of mentioned this before, have utilized the fact that their staff doesn't use health insurance. My staff does not. I do not use health insurance for the county, neither does Amy. And so that's about $18,000 that could pretty much pay the majority of the part-time person.
Did you hear that, Stephen?
Not really.
Okay, she says that she nor Pammy currently utilize the health insurance that the county provides. So it's a savings to the county of $9,050 going into this next cycle, times 2, which would be about $18,000. And that's what she proposes, that instead of the expense of their health insurance costs, transfer it to underwrite a part-time position.
Transfer from the general fund to that position.
I guess from the
Because
allocation.
not really, well, is not the insurance in the general fund, is that not where it's put at, Jackie?
For the general fund offices, yes, and it's put in one line item.
Which would be the case.
Okay, so we're still taxing the taxpayer for that. So it's really not a savings to the taxpayer, it's just money that's not spent. So the taxpayer is already paying for that insurance, whether somebody uses it or not. So it's really not a savings to the taxpayer. It's just money that we tax that we don't use, so.
But I'd like to use it.
She wants to use it, is what she said. Stephen, was there anything else you wanted to ask about?
No, that was it. That was my main thing, how to fund that.
Okay.
And I think Sandra from the hospital wanted to speak too. I'm not sure if she's there or what.
She's not here.
I know that I did talk to her earlier, and the flu shots are coming out earlier, like in the middle of September. So I'll be sending out an email because they want them taken earlier this year. So I'll be sending out an email to anybody that wants a flu shot. Get them from the hospital.
Anything else?
I have one other thing, on our secretaries, we've been over this for the last 6 years, I think, since we made all the changes. And I'm gonna suggest we go ahead and raise their salary to the chief deputy clerk, like almost everybody else that's running in an office. We've got them in the JP offices that don't have anybody working under them, making 31,000 a year. I mean, it's all over the place except those two. I haven't felt right about it for the last several years. It may make people mad, but they're our employees, so I feel like we do what we feel is right. And I got to talk to the other guys about it, to make sure. As far as I'm concerned, that's what I want to do. We're not talking about a huge expense of money. It'll be coming out of our budgets.
Yeah, so it's road and bridge personnel. Okay. Okay, is there anything else? Sheriff, are you leaving or standing up to
I'm
talk?
gonna let Leanne outdo me. I'm gonna bring all my stuff up here. No, real quickly. Short, Mike, thank you for organizing this. Judge, I owe you an apology, as with having the largest budget, if you will, in this county. 2020 has been a crazy year, and we got our official notices, and I say our official notices through email about meeting with the judge. And, I was looking over and I was thinking back to 2002 when I became Justice of the Peace. Over the years, I think I've developed an understanding with the court that if I need something, I'll come ask for it. If you're available to give that and I need it, you'll give it to me. If I don't need it, I'm not asking for it. So, we knew 2020 with the oil and gas revenues, of course, with COVID, that we were going to be, in a struggle as we normally are each year. The good Lord blesses us a lot of times once these final figures come in from Lynette, and I simply was understanding with myself. I made it to my point, and obviously I think Don East was the only one that referred back to you or answered back to you, so I think there was a lot of confusion about how this process was going to work this year. But Donald knows that we're going to do everything in our office with what we already have. So I simply just want to come here today, and what I would have said a month or two ago, the same thing is I'm not asking for any increases, but I'm definitely not asking for any decreases as well. The people in the community, they are, there's some, especially down at South End and Fredericksburg, they are begging and yearning for more officers. They're begging for that. I would love to be able to give to that. I know you as a commissioner's court would love to be able to do the same. We're doing things different to make those things work, but again, 923 square miles, we're going to do the very best we can on that. But as a court, and the money that you've been allotted, the burdens that our taxpayers are already facing, we're glad to have exactly what we have. And I think you're seeing that probably through the committees as well. Most people understand that there's a point. There's only so much that we can do as a county, And, again, I just ask that, you know, there be no decreases, that we continue the way we are. If there is something that comes up each year, and I think every department will face that, there are things that come up each year that we have no idea that was coming. And we make through it. So again, I just want to thank y'all for the job you're doing and, just continue to do it. Good luck with this, committee and 48 you referred to.
Brian,
Yes,
I do want to ask one.
please ask
I'm
the
going to
one.
compliment you too.
Don't do that.
I don't know what you are doing different down there, but I have messed with a lot of people that are impressed.
Yeah,
And I see a tremendous presence down there.
Yeah.
And I know that Preston County has problems too, but I do appreciate what you're doing.
well, thank you.
It's helpful.
It's, you know,
Really has.
it's, you know, sometimes when you've been blessed to be in office as long as I have, and you haven't had a contender, if you will, and you get some numbers in, you realize where your weak spots are, and, you know, it was a wake-up call, a gauge, if you will, for our department, and, I know Donald, they understand that, you know, we gotta do that. You know, we do.
And also, I don't know anything about this, but I guess now's the time to bring it up because I honestly don't know what he's talking about. But Mr. Zachary sent me a text message earlier today, and he said, I don't even know if you've had these, but he said that he would like to be considered as a reserve constable for the coming year. Do we have reserve constables?
I think in the past, and I would speak, I know the judge probably speak this better, I don't think it has to be approved in Commissioner's Court for a constable to have a reserve, to have a deputy constable. Is that not correct, Donald? Yes,
You just gotta have money to pay.
well, yeah, exactly, you got to have there, and of course, there are some, with those, there are some liability aspects that come with that.
I didn't know if you had them on staff or how you handled it, but
Me, or, no, well,
it would be a new position, in other words.
yes, well, from the way I'm
I
understanding.
mentioned it for the record.
Yeah, the way you're saying it would have to be approved before Commissioner's Court with that elected official of whatever precinct it may be, and if you referred before, would have to come before the court and request that he be allowed to have a reserve constable under his department. Yes.
Yeah, in the constable's department, the deputy constable has to be approved by name, not position. The sheriff's office, the court approves a certain number of positions, but in constable's office, each individual constable, deputy constable has to be approved by name. In precinct 4, if Constable Zachary's talking about being a deputy reserve in precinct 4, reserve deputy constable, I think probably some nepotism laws will come into play there.
Yeah, I don't know exactly where he was referring to or whatever. That's why I'm asking the question, because he asked me to.
Yes.
He asked me the question, so I'm asking y'all the question. I didn't know how to operate it, so anyway, I did ask.
That would need to be done from whichever constable he's wanting to be under. That would need to come from that department, or that elected constable.
All right, I did what I was supposed to do.
Hey, Stephen,
Yes, sir.
there was at one time some conversation about providing dispatch and jail services for a couple of the cities. And we probably need to get a good understanding on how the distribution of that is. I did receive a call recently and deferred it to both Mike and you. The city was wanting to visit on that particular topic. And then we'd also talked about Ivanhoe at one point this past year. So we need to visit that.
I have a meeting set up tomorrow with the city of Woodville. I've spoken with the sheriff, and he understands that that I'm working on this deal and I'm dividing two systems up from dispatch as one category to the jails and another, because there actually are two separate totally deals. And there's no really set formula for how miles being charged now, so that's what we're trying to come up with, is a formula that will be fair to everyone, to all the cities, and for the services provided by the county, you know, that the cities, utilize, and where we could have by law, we have to be, compensated in somehow, form or fashion for something that we do, for another entity like that. But we just need a formula that's fair to everyone that's paying and everyone that's not paying. So everyone should pay. And I'll probably have something on the next agenda to, where we can discuss it in court and maybe make an action until we figure out something to do. Yeah, I should have something on the next court agenda that we can discuss on that.
Stephen, are you thinking that same formula could apply for Ivanhoe's needs as well?
Yes, the formula, we should be able to apply for all anyone that we're answering the phone for dispatch. And that's where we're focused at right now, is on dispatch and answering the phone. Because some of these entities, when you call them after hours, the answering machine says, call the Howard County Sheriff's Office at this number for water leak, gas leak, or problem, or whatever. And, you know, we don't even have any type of contract with them. That's what we're kind of working on, is how we can come up with a formula for that to be fair to everyone, where everybody's paying the same on that margin.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Stir.
Yes.
Hey, Sheriff. Hey, one quick question I was just thinking about, and I don't know if we've thought about, with the fire departments, with the emergency, with the district, emergency services district, would they fall under that category? Is that something we need to look at, or is that through a different tax base, if you will?
Did you hear that, Stephen?
No, yes, they are a taxing entity, and that has already been brought up in discussions, and I think that's probably where they're going to be included in that formula. I believe any taxing entity that we are providing services for, another taxing entity, my understanding is there has to be some sort of compensation, whether it's in kind or money or whatever it is. But yes, they have been brought into the equation, or the conversation has been brought up in the equation.
We've received funds from the National Park Service for years, haven't we?
Yes. I don't have.
That's correct.
But yes.
Okay. Anything else? I'm gonna repeat back what we talked about. Let's see, Mike, you're good as far as the airport, based on what Jackie brought in this, okay? Longevity was discussed. No, that was my note. We've got about $8,600 additional for longevity to go, okay, in general. We need to talk about the Zoom meetings and how that configuration looks. Treasurer is requesting a part-time position to be paid out of what is not expensed through both hers and her deputies' allocation for health insurance. Also a recommendation for about $25,200 a year on a Aflac program at $30 per employee. Change in the dental policy. The current one is horrible. Aflac has a good one. The policy for policy change, which could affect the net payout on 120 hours accrued versus going in excess of that. Mike brought up the pay grade for each of the clerk positions, support positions for the commissioners, going up to the chief deputy clerk. No reductions for the sheriff, please. Reserve deputy constable for precinct 4 for next year. Jail and dispatch services and SCS. Did I miss anything?
But,
There's one thing more that I would like to discuss, or not discuss, either put it on the table, people think about it and come back and discuss it later, is our part-time employees in each office, their pay per hour is just all over the board, depending on where you're at, or what department you're in, and you kind of thinking about it, I really don't know how to make this work other than to if you have a part-time person in your department, then that part-time person should not be making more per hour than a full-time person in your department that's doing the same job. Because just like the insurance is not funded within your department, it's funded within the general fund. So per hour, the broken down per hour, the salary person, the part-time person, I don't think should make more per hour than that full-time person is making, because we, you know, it's not a savings to the county. We're collecting tax money. We're levying a tax on the people and then not utilizing that tax money, on the insurance side. So we're not saving the county money. We're just not spending money that we're taxing the people for. So I don't know exactly how to make that formula work. I know there's lots of formulas going on, but I think that's something that we need to think about and go back to a workshop and kind of everybody get on the same page, because there's some people getting paid a lot more per hour than other people are. And I'm afraid we might get into some kind of legal situation if we're not careful on that. So I don't know if we need to say, here's your amount of money, and that will cover X number of hours, 28 hours, up to 28 hours per week at the rate that that person will be working at, the maximum rate that that person will be working at. So, not sure, but I know we need to discuss it before action is taken, not some people's.
Well, the way that came into being, Stephen, is they gave a pot of money to departments for part-time help. I know in the workshop, it said that the highest amount of pay would be $16. But when I called TAC Legal and said, can Commissioner's Court state how much per hour a part-time employee gets in their budget if they've given them $25,000? And their answer to me was, if they wanted them to work 1 hour and pay them the whole $25,000, they could. The only way that you can, I guess, dictate what the hourly rate is if you specify that in your policy.
Right.
I mean, that's the way basically that I understood it. That's what they told me.
So
So it's gonna be more of a policy change than a budget change. Is that it would affect the how it's put into the budget from the policy.
Yes.
Okay.
Because you have temporary part-time and permanent part-time. And the only thing that permanent part-time is not getting is health insurance, because if they have a regular schedule, we're required by law to hold out, by our retirement system, to hold out retirement, and we have to match it. We have to match the taxes. So the only thing we're saving is the yearly amount for the insurance. But temporary or seasonal, we don't have to hold out retirement on them, because there's a beginning date and an ending date. That's how you can differentiate between temporary part-time and regular part-time.
Well, that's all I have. I think we need to look at that when we get the time.
So what you're saying is, if someone has a beginning date and an ending date, it's like a summer person, then they are just considered temporary part-time. But like someone who works for me down there that comes to work every day all year long, he is a permanent part-time.
Like, if you got one that works Wednesday, Thursday, or just every Wednesday and Thursday every week, then they have a regular schedule that they follow.
So that's a permanent
So
part-time.
that's a permanent or regular part-time person, because they're working the same amount of hours every week the whole year. Summer help is say May 31st to August 1st. Or whatever. If you've got an ending date, it's temporary, and we're not required to hold out retirement. But you can't hire somebody from May 31st to August 1st, wait a month, because I don't want retirement help out, and hire them back from September 30th to November 30th. You know, they're real picky about that. And there was a couple of things I wanted, that I need to know. Right now, we're paying, our match is for retirement Our required rate for next year is 6.37, and you can see that on page 8 of your book. We are right now, doing an elected rate of 6.89. So I need to know, do we want to, I mean, we've got till December 15th before we absolutely have to have this plan submitted back to them. But I need to know for budgetary purposes, do you want to leave the 6.89 in the budget as it is and go with the required rate? If you look at page 7, the one ahead of it, they're explaining to us that obviously, as we well know, investment earnings or yields are going down this year or went down. And so we're gonna feel the effects of it next year. So my recommendation, both of y'all, is that we keep what we have, just to kind of, even though it's not that
Yeah, well,
much.
we really can't decide that today, but,
Right, just
Brown-
thinking
Brown
about it.
has a real concern about that too, about next year, what's gonna happen with the market, and, you know, he was concerned about lowering our rates at any time.
And our, well, we already approved our health, so we know that's good. Our workers' comp, when I talked to my TAC representative, is stable. If they don't foresee that going up, our unemployment rate is actually going down a little bit. And, our, longevity is, you know, we've had some people leave that we're getting a pretty good chunk of change, that's helped us lower that liability. And then I created the separate sheet for the sheriff and for the precincts to see how much they need to budget, and if they want to make changes in the budget, let us know so we can fix it. But this is absolutely what you have to budget in your lease payments, principal and interest on your budget, because that's the leases that you agreed to. And the only other thing that I would like to ask for, or even consider, and I don't know how much money it could be paid for with this CARES grant, is one of the, it's called a MISTER. It's EDIS, COVID disinfectant equipment. I know in this proposal, we come up with one for each courtroom, what you do basically before you leave, you turn it on and it mists at night when no one's here and disinfects the room. I think that would be beneficial for sure for the courtrooms, but I would also like to see, you know, if any other offices would like one, to see what the cost would be, because that is allowable on the grant. And everybody at the end of the day can turn on their e-lister before they leave and come back in their offices disinfected.
I want in each room.
I don't know, that's what I want to find out more, but I am interested in looking further into it, and the grant, it qualifies under the grant. And I know, Leanne found out they're expensive. I mean, it's $1,495 per item, per MISTER. But I don't know how many square feet that it does, but I think it would be beneficial, because we don't know how long this is gonna go on. It could also help with flu virus. That's just another
You need to find out the cost of the substance that goes in it that does it also,
right,
how much that's gonna cost for rebuilding.
but that would help try to keep people from getting sick.
Anything else? Mike? Stephen?
No, sir, I'm good, thank you.
Okay. Buck? All right. Y'all want to recess or do you want to adjourn?
Why don't we recess? I think we can stay recessed until we get on the workshop. Is that correct? It doesn't have the ended time on it. We can go back next week and meet again. Is that correct?
I think it does expire, Stephen. It seems like that there is a 24-hour period on the recessing. Otherwise, you're going to have to repost. Seems like we experienced that
Don't
last
you have
couple
to
of
be
years.
here? Or it's like within 7 days?
I guess maybe that's on the regular meeting, I mean, on a special call meeting, you can keep recessing until you determine whatever it is you need to determine, I guess.
If we're not going to meet the rest of this week, and we want to meet next week, but it seems like I visited with Eric about that.
Hey, how long can you be recessed from a budget workshop?
Jackie's got somebody else.
I think on a special meeting, you can recess, there's no ending time, as long as you call, and we're gonna pick that, we're gonna recess and come back at this time, you can continue to recess on a special term. But you can't on a regular term or something like that, I'm not sure, I don't know about the workshop,
I don't know where I heard that.
Does
We
David,
just need to find it out.
does he have an idea what we'll know as far as our money?
Okay, all right.
Tax revenue,
Dominique's is bringing her books, she went back over the phone.
effective rate, with our effective rate.
I haven't heard from Lynette what her calculation is.
Well, I know she's had to have a lot of stuff for me that they've never had to ask before. I mean, it was.
Hey, Stephen, this is,
Can we just schedule it for next week, and, you know, whenever that time is, and if we need it, we go, if not, we cancel it or go on, or whatever.
hey, this is y'all's
Bringing her
deal.
open meetings, but to see what
So,
the requirements are, so we can find out.
You know, even if we posted it in the morning, we'd still be good for Monday morning as far as the meeting. But if we're not gonna meet,
Yeah,
I don't think it'll do much good until we know
yeah,
what our numbers
looks like
are.
we've got some homework to
those are the
do.
numbers, yeah.
And if I've calculated the dates correct, we probably need to do something by the 24th, so we know what but I want somebody to check those dates, just to be sure I'm calculating correct.
Right. Can we put it, can we do for like the 20th, and that way we'll have enough time to put it on our regular meeting, agenda if we need to for the 24th, to get that in there?
See,
What day's the 20th though?
It's a Thursday.
Thursday,
Yeah. That'd be good.
Thursday, the 20th,
about in the morning sometime, mid-morning.
10? Is that mid enough?
Yeah, that'd be fine. As long as we've got enough time to get, if we need to get something on the regular agenda for the 24th, we'll have time to get that on there.
Judge,
The 20th,
the pre-bid meeting is on, I know it's not, it's canceled.
it's the first, isn't it?
Yeah,
First, okay.
never mind.
20th at 10,
It's
for another budget workshop.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah,
Did you, do you have any idea what Sandra, what it was she was wanting to talk about? Or-
this is her tax rate, of course, we don't know what it's gonna be, but she makes, all that she can for the indigent money that she's putting out in charity care, so. But she didn't want to have to get cut, it's kind of like with the sheriff, please don't cut her, because she needs the indigent money to pay for that.
So we decided we just go adjourn.
I think
Well,
so.
Dominique's is bringing
Oh,
it
she's
over her book,
Oh,
so she can bring it over the Open Meetings Act and make sure,
later.
that way we can know for sure if you want to do it again.
Did you pick up on all that, Stephen? We're waiting on Donna's
Right, yes, yeah.
to see whether we can just leave the agenda open. I mean, leave the workshop open.
I don't think-
I don't think we can either. I think
I think it has to be like 48
Got it.
48 hours or something like that.
Yeah. I was thinking 24.
And it could be 24. I just know we've asked that once before.
Yeah.
They said until next week and we could not, but I don't know what the.
And I'm thinking Eric,
I think,
Recess sometimes, workshop.
yeah, we may not.
He got supposed to.
I look at, I was gonna tell you.
I don't mind adjourning and coming back on Thursday and get
policy, the way you
Yeah, that's really all.
I talked to my guys at the barn, and they were talking about,
Here she comes.
raises, and most of them were agreeable with the thought of another athletic policy rather than a raise, because they said that was something that's what they probably do with a raise, is buy another athletic, because they're all getting older. So, for my part, I was just wanting to know they were excited about maybe something like that.
I know that Dalisa has indicated that she would really appreciate whatever the court decided to go towards an athletic policy, it'll offset some of those.
Well, Buck and I are the poster children for athletes.
Yeah, I'm poster child for athletic, let me tell you. I am a lead.
I had coverage I didn't even know I had.
I'm a past play for athletic.
To the average employee that we have, if they had a catastrophic something, and they had to be gone, or they had to go late, that's non-paid. This would help something that is help our staff. And the whole point, I think, in working for the county, working anywhere, is the team, it's play on and everybody's all together, looking at each other. So, I think.
And Aflac is really easy to work with.
I tell you what, a lot of our employees fall in our little category, our little age.
And they'll even go back, if you have a
Who's you
wellness.
pointing at, Bub?
Huh?
to
I was going to everybody.
Me is what he's.
I just want to be able to pick my
Yeah,
next,
insurance is going up.
I just want to be able hey, Stephen, I just want to be able to pick my next major illness.
Well, see, the thought is those policies have wellness benefits. You can get $75 every time you go get an annual physical. And I didn't even know Wade's had it. Well, we did, and I guess I forgot. And this little agent we've got, this Julie Golden, she is off the chart awesome, let me tell you.
No, don't let that fool you.
And, well, with me, she is, and you're on YouTube, I might remember. So I've got, you're gonna have to
Huh?
square up with her. But, they went back to 2011 on Wade's policy and paid him up for the wellness benefit. All we had to do was get the dates. We didn't even have to have the paper. The
Yeah.
dates that he had went for his physical or his
Well, she
A1C.
told me what to go get. She helped me a lot on getting what I needed, but, and I still don't know what a rider is, because she said I bought it, but I didn't know I even had it, and that's why I got what I got. 'Cause I
I
had the
didn't have
rider.
the rider and I still got a lot of money.
But once you've had one heart attack, you can't use it again.
Well, that's the way
If you're gonna have one, have a good one.
Not too good, though.
Well, they said I had the best one you could have. Or the worst, really the worst one, but it's the outcome was the best. I really thought I had had the one, I really thought I was the donor that day though, because all the people kept coming in there, I was like, oh, they must have told them they better come and see me now, because they ain't we're here. I was like, oh. Because I mean, they were coming right then, I mean, it was
Like their last second.
You did come out. I think you called me. Yeah, it's probably mine.
Well, it's just because people.
You know,
love that.
I don't remember at all who came and who didn't.
That's why I didn't know.
Because I asked Donna,
I called you, that's okay.
I asked Donna the other day, I said, who all actually paid? I mean, I knew you were there, but there were some that I had forgotten.
I had told him, what, 2 weeks before, I told him, when you have that pain, there will be no doubt in your mind what it is.
And that's what it was.
And I'm telling you, when they say an elephant sitting on your chest, that ain't no lie.
Matt, we haven't heard a word from you, I want to hear something. Howdy. Okay.
Matt, don't you want those e-misters too? Wouldn't you be interested, Terry?
Absolutely.
So we'll talk to you when you
Well,
get done.
not only that, but, you know, you have your, like the tax office, and tax office,
You know what's bad though, Leanne? Every one of them that goes in their office comes in our office first looking for it.
Well,
We need to move out there taking their temperature.
but what I think we should do, or what should at least consider, especially if this is what help everybody, the public and the employees that work here, is consider those standalone, thermometers. You walk through them, they take the temperature. And that way, you always have to come in that close contact with the and you have to get very close to you really are. And then, put it into their pocket. Well, I mean, you don't know where they've been. I just think there's a lot of.
There's a lot of it. No, it takes money.
To protect our employees, protect our, people save money, come on.
Mine was 97.2.
We must have this thing calibrated.
That's fine with me though. I'd rather be 97.2, 98.2.
Drinking, kids outside.
It smells good now. Billy,
We may need to do some more reading and finding out about this. Might just make a phone call or two. Okay,
I'll make a motion with adjourn.
all right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Thanks, Bud. All in favor, aye? Stephen, you still there? Okay, so we will be officially adjourned. We just need to find out what that is. But I'm kind of with Jackie. I think that it has some kind of a specified hours.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Because they don't want you to be able to recess if somebody was in here, which you didn't want
Yeah.
in here the next time and recess.
Well, can't we just go ahead and do, I mean,
We can just post it for the next workshop. That's gonna be the 20th.
I can't believe August is almost gone.
Maybe that's Thursday.
We're gonna be into September before we know it.
I know David said the other day at our press board meeting that it looks a lot better than it first did.
Yeah.
As far as looking at it.
This conference is no longer being recorded.
Okay, I cannot talk to Nancy because I have to go to the interview.